What is the difference between dynamic, passive, and resistive stretching? Okay everyone, it's Dr. Heather here, and this is really geared towards my runners out there because they are always asking, what should I do in terms of stretching before my run and what should I do after my run? So I've gone ahead and I've created a nice little combination of stuff for you guys in terms of when to put in dynamic, when to put in passive, and when to put in resistance styles of stretching. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at all three of those. And just so you know, dynamic is designed around doing more swift movement patterns in a sequential kind of format where we're going to really loosen up that body. Passive is where we're holding positions a little bit more to really kind of get further into that stretch. And then when we look at the resistive stretching, what we're trying to do there is work on that flexibility, also a lot more with some strength training and core involvement. So when we combine those three styles of stretching into our run protocol, this is what really helps us in our performance overall with running and really reduces that risk of injury, because we've gone ahead and prepared our bodies to really focus on not having an injury set into place. So what I want to do, guys, we're going to first start off in dynamic stretching, and then I have created a separate video on passive, and then I've created another video on resisted. So if you haven't gone ahead and subscribed, please do go ahead and click that subscribe button. Make sure you hit those notifications, because as these videos get uploaded, you're going to want to pay attention. You're going to want to really ask some questions by dropping comments down below, because we want to help you succeed in your runs. So guys, here we go. We're going to start off with dynamic. So now I'm going to go through some basic dynamic stretches that you can do before any one of your running events, or if you're just happening to go out for a run and you just want to get a little kind of stretch in before going. All right, so you're going to see me perform these. We're going to go length of a room. I would recommend, if you're doing these outside, maybe do them in the driveway. You don't have to go crazy, but it's a great way just to get, like I said, some dynamic movement happening to really loosen up that body before you actually go on that run. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with bringing the knee to the chest. So I'm going to come down here and do exactly what I just said. I'm going to hike up that knee, drive it into that chest, try to grab that knee as I go ahead and I do it just like so. Now, if your driveway is kind of short, you could do that maybe 1 or 2 times, but then from there, we're going to actually do it going back, and then we're going to go into more of what's called a Frankenstein, which is a straight leg kick. So now, I'm going to go ahead, I just stretched out my hip flexors a little bit, kind of got them warmed up. Now I'm going to go ahead, try to get that leg all the way up, a nice little opposite hand, opposite knee. Now I'm getting a little bit more active with my hamstring. The next one we can do is actually some nice easy side squats, where we're just coming here, opening up the legs, sinking the body back down and just allowing for some stretch to happen in those hips, allowing the quads to start to warm up, the glutes to fire as well. And again, we're just walking the length of the room. Now what we can do is we can also look at some walking lunges, just taking a nice little lunge stance. No really bouncing in that lunge, just nice and easy going here. If you wanted with that lunge, you could add a little bit of rotation. So as I step forward with my right leg, rotating to the right, trying just to go ahead, give myself a little bit of range of motion happening in my low back, in my torso as well. Then from there, we can look at doing a little bit more dynamic stretches in the sense of more movement involved. So what we can do is simply just going butt kicks as you're coming down. Then what we can do is we can actually look at trying to tap the outside of the foot. So as we flail the leg out to the side, we're now kind of getting that heel to come up a little bit closer to the butt, also performing a little bit of external rotation. Then what we can do is we can bring them into the inside as well. So now what we can do is as we skip, coming down, hitting the inside of the foot, again, getting some more motion, driving that knee up, really working on kind of the hip mobility, getting some good flexion extension happening at the knee as well. Now, the other two that you can do, which is really up to you, whether you want to do these outside or inside, involves actually kind of coming down onto the floor. This becomes a little bit more active. You're going to start really noticing it's going to stretch a lot more. Well, the first one is an inchworm. So you come down onto the ground, walk the feet in, stretch out the hamstrings, the low back, walk the feet in, walk the hands out, walk the feet in, walk the hands out. So again, right there, that one starts to become a lot more, you know, depending if you want little pebbles in your hand or not. I wouldn't advise that. But you could go ahead and do that one. The next one you could do as well is where you're gonna go ahead now and essentially kicking the leg out to the side. So now we're gonna start trying to get a little bit more into groin, but then what you're gonna do is like Spider-Man, drag that leg, come back to that plank position, put the foot here again, drag that leg, coming back, putting that foot again, and dragging a little bit further. So right there, getting a little bit more dynamic with your warm-up can really enhance your run, because now your body's a little bit more loose, you're not as tight, and again, it focuses more on that injury prevention. All right, so now that is the dynamic piece. Those are just some simple things that you can do. Of course, you can go into some further ones, but again, the dynamic part is to really get that heart rate up, get your muscles warmed, get the body loose, start getting range of motion going, getting you set more as you prepare for that run. Now what we're gonna do is, like I said, there's part two, where we're gonna now take it a little further. We're gonna look at your passive stretches. Then in part three, we're gonna look at your resistance stretches as well. So stay tuned, because we've got part two on passive and part three on resistance stretching. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do. Click that notification button. And if you found some of these dynamic stretches helpful before your run, as always, hit the like button. This is Dr. Heather. Here we go. We're off to running.